Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday and welcome to episode 13 of Practicality and Magic. Oh, you know what? We're supposed to do this. Hold on. I'm backwards today. I'm going to do this real quick. Okay, and we're back.
That's beautiful.
Because I forget. It's been a while since I have done a practicality and magic show. So I forgot that I had that cute little video that I worked on and that I want to show. So anyway, welcome to everybody. If you're here joining us, which I see some numbers and I'm so excited. So comment and let us know that you're here and where you're at if you want. Jen and I are both in Salt Lake City today. It's kind of fun to do a video with somebody who's sharing the same geographical space. And so, episode 13, and I am so excited to have one of my true, like goddess soul sisters that I've ever had in my life that I am so grateful for. And Jen Beaumont. She is, if you guys don't know her, on Instagram, you need to find her ASAP because she's got 2 accounts that you will love. So Jen is, like I said, my friend. She's a fellow intuitive. She's one of the most incredible dancers I've ever had the pleasure to witness in person. She is a jewelry maven, and by jewelry maven, I mean not like newfangled jewelry. I'm talking vintage, the most beautiful jewelry ever. She can find the most incredible gems. And so she's on Instagram with her jewelry as Blue Moon Bits. I have several pieces and I don't have any on today. I usually wear like 2 or 3 at once, but today I'm free of jewelry for some reason. And she's also an incredible intuitive. So you can also find her on Instagram under @reveal.intuitive. She does card pulls. She does readings, live readings on Instagram. It's amazing. So go find her. And hi, Tracy. Happy Friday. Hi, Leanne. So good to see you guys. Tracy's in Missouri and it's flurrying. We were having flurries earlier in the week. Today it's 74. Wednesday was sunny and freezing. Yesterday was a little warmer, and today it's supposed to be 74. So we're grateful. So the reason that Jen and I are doing this today, it's pretty impromptu, is because we had a conversation yesterday, and I'm like, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this online and share it. And I want to tell everybody, if you're watching, if you can share this video, on Facebook or whatever, do it, please. YouTube, where I don't know how to do, I don't know. I'm not technologically, whatever, but if you can share it, I would love it. So Jen, welcome.
Thank you. How nice to sit down and just be bathed in compliments. What if that was an everyday thing? I'm just like, oh my goodness, everyone needs this, to just sit down somewhere and have someone go on about how wonderful they are. That was very generous of you, and I feel the same way about you in every regard. I mean, you're a great dancer too. So I'm going to even add that because I have seen you dance to Depeche Mode, and I won't take that away from you.
Oh, Jen, you are so awesome. But yeah, that's a totally different kind of dancing. You know what I mean?
No less about
80s club dancing. It will never leave me. It's just part of me. So, but every word I said is true. It's all true. You're just, I think I said in my Instagram post yesterday that you are beauty and magic personified, and it's true. You just are. So, that being said, let's get into what we're here to talk about today. Okay. So, we were talking about, Jen and I have both life's been a struggle for a while. More of a struggle in a lot of ways for Jen for a longer period than me. But, I don't think that we're unique in having struggles, right? I think it's just kind of the mode now. It's just what is. But how we've been through this journey of finding our way. And it's interesting because we've both been frustrated with some of the things that we've been seeing in the market as far as tools or advice and all this stuff about manifesting and that. And we've both kind of gone back to the old ways, right?
Mhm.
So talk to me about that, Jen.
Okay, so I am a student, I mean, I love being a student. And I mean, I guess I would flatter myself if I said a seeker, but it's something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's something akin to that. So I'm always reading. I know you are too. Always looking for the next thing, always trying to solve the mystery, and like put the pieces of the puzzle together. So with manifestation, when I started my jewelry business, it was like the easiest thing in the world. It was so crazy. It was, and it still is some days, I'll think, oh, I'd really like an antique band that looks like this. And literally it would show up like within a week or something. So I built this entire online business on that ability. And the thing is, it was fun. To me, it was nothing, Michelle. It was fun. It was like, it wasn't dance. It wasn't mothering. It wasn't my relationship. That stakes were very low when I started. As the stakes got higher, as I needed the income more, due to different circumstances in my life, it got harder to manifest the things that I needed for my business. It got stressful. It got, how am I going to make this work? And then it, filtered over to my intuitive business where I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I know I have to do this, but it's not working. So what I found recently is that what you said, some of the old people like Neville Goddard, or there's that one lady you talk about. I can't remember her. Isn't it a woman, Florence or something?
Florence Scovel Shin.
Yeah. That the things that they said were so simple, because some of the things that the new people are saying, I mean, forgive me, this is going to sound so rude, but when I go on Instagram and I see a 25-year-old telling me how to manifest, you know what I mean? Like, I manifest, I don't do a 9 to 5. I just travel all day. And, and I'm like, okay, that's wonderful, but you don't have 4 children and like, you're not, you know what I mean? That's great for you. That's great when you're 25. And not to be
Inflation doesn't meet.
right, not to be ageist, but it's just all these people telling me all the time, it's so easy, it's so easy. Or even like reading some of the Abraham Hicks stuff, who I totally believe in that. I really do. But it's the, I don't know, it just seemed oversimplified, and it left me feeling like a failure. Like, how am I not able to do this thing? I'm a smart person. I'm well read. I really dedicate myself to whatever I'm trying to do. And yet I can't do it. But that's why I've been having a struggle, or that's one of the reasons I think we both talked about why it's been a struggle, because I have been just over trying. Like, trying too hard is a word, but the word that just came to me right now is over trying. Like, trying so hard that it's just like this death grip, and there was no joy, and there was no fun, and there was no magic in it the
Yeah.
way that I started to be good at it in the first place, which was just this, oh my gosh, I found this piece of jewelry. How fun is that? No big deal. It wasn't like I need to manifest $100 for my grocery bill tomorrow. That's no fun.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, first of all, Jen, I really appreciate your honesty and, being like transparent with it, because I think that one of the things that happens is in the spiritual realm, it can be so whitewashed.
Hmm.
All love and light. It's all perfect. My life is
Hmm.
perfect. And then those of us that are experiencing something that's not quite perfect think, oh shit, I'm like screwing up.
Yeah.
I'm broken.
I'm
Or
doing it wrong. I'm not good enough at
right,
this.
I'm not good enough. But so I really appreciate that, because that's one of the first things. I think we have to be real. We have to be honest about this life, about our struggles, about these journeys, that they are sometimes mired in the thickest mud we don't even know. You know what I mean? And that's okay. It's part of our purpose here as humans, right?
Right. To go through the real stuff.
The real stuff. That's how we really know the good stuff. And it
Mhm.
makes the joy that much sweeter. But um, and I should say, I think that it's easy, like what you pointed out, I just want to echo. When it's just something fun, And it's like
Mhm.
there's no real stake to it. We can manifest all day long. But
Yeah.
the minute that the rubber meets the road and it's like real stuff, that's where our self-worth,
Mhm.
our belief in ourself, our trust in ourself really
Mhm.
gets called to task and we're tested, you
Yeah,
know?
the limiting beliefs, especially. I think like you hit, I mean, the way that you just described that is perfect. When the rubber hits the road, it's like that's when you hit into, that buzzword everybody talks about, resistance. I mean, that's a real thing, but it is that when you get down to those limiting beliefs. I was doing something this morning, doing a meditation this morning, and afterwards I just sat for a minute and everything just kind of dissolved. I know you and I've talked about this before, like all the material stuff, it just kind of like, it was really fuzzy and interesting. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's all about how you feel about yourself. Like that's where everything comes from. And it's just so crazy that it always comes back to, like, there's no getting away from that.
No, there isn't, right?
Mhm.
And this I have to just say, you guys, so everybody who's on here watching, Jen finally watched Practical Magic. She had never seen that show. That's one of my favorite all-time movies, and she had resisted it for
I have.
various reasons. She gave in, right? But I mean, I think that what you just said leads perfectly into that premise in that movie. Because Jen asked me when she told me that she'd watched it, she asked me what my favorite part or what I loved about it. And I said, the Sandra Bullock character, the fact that she was so sure that she was never going to be happy, that she was never going to have all these things in life. And then it makes me emotional thinking about it now. And then when she finally just let it go and like gave into the possibility of her and her life and anything, then boom, here comes the guy with one green eye and one blue eye that she wrote in her journal when she was like 9 or whatever, you know? It's like, I love that. And that's how it always is. The minute that we let go and stop trying to control it, that's what I feel like the resisting is, the control.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And here's another thing I think about a lot is we try to think it through. Like as a human, we try to plan it through. And that is another facet of control, right? But we try to plan it through. Like we think, oh, I'm going to get this way, and it's going to come to me like this, and it's going to be like this, like I mean, take my life, for example. I never in a million years thought I would have a jewelry business. Like that
Yeah.
was not, I mean, even now, some days I'm just like, what am I doing? That's, you know what I mean? But it has brought so much magic and so many blessings and exactly what I needed, a puzzle piece that fit my life that I could never have created myself. So that control is just like, I don't understand it almost, because it's like, I mean, even in myself, I'm like, why would I try to control a power that created the universe? You know what I mean? That
Because
created,
that's what we're told we need to do.
yeah, you're right.
We're told that every single day by society.
Yeah,
Trying to control.
but then on the other side of that, and you have more experience with this than I do, but like if you're raised in a religious setting, aren't you also taught that you're supposed to have complete faith in God?
Well, it's like a catch 22. It's like an
Mhm.
irony. Yeah, you're supposed to have complete faith in God,
Mhm.
but but you're also supposed to be in total control of your life.
I get it, and that's how you get to receive the blessings, by controlling yourself. I see.
Yep,
Okay, that makes
right?
sense. Yeah,
Right?
but
And
it's
so
not true.
it's ridiculous, but that's, we're and then let outside of the religious realm, just
Mhm.
society in general, we're supposed to be in control, right? We're supposed to be
Absolutely.
in control of our life and what we do and how we do it and when we do it and taking care of all these other facets in life and
Mhm.
people and things, and we're supposed to be in uber control. So when we're told that, and then we're gonna somehow try to take that, be in control of all of these moving parts in our outside life, and then not control within. That's
Mhm.
really a challenge, I believe, you know? And it's why I say, I have said this for about 8 years now. I'm a control freak in
Mm.
recovery.
I'm a recovering control freak.
Yes, because I'm not minimizing like substance abuse or anything like that, right?
Or yeah.
But when you're in a 12-step program, you're told that you're never like it's never gone. It's
Mhm.
just one moment
You
at a
work
time, one
on.
step at a time, right? And
Mhm.
with any pattern, especially control, it's so easy to work on it and not resist it, right? To kind of let it go and then slip back into that pattern. It's so
Yeah.
easy because it's all about we've intermeshed it with our sense of safety and
Yeah.
stability and all that.
Yeah, this conversation is making me like I could feel in my stomach like there's just this tight, you know what I mean? Like my body is having a visceral reaction to the things that you're saying because they are true and they are me also. So
Mm,
I, which is, part of my other work, like we've been doing that work forever for a long time, but like how the body will hold on to things and respond to things. Like even those words, like you mentioning those words like recovery and control freak and letting go and stuff, it just, like it made me like go, like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's me. How do I fix it or what do I do?
yeah.
And it's like, ooh, that answer is so much easier and so much harder than you think it is. It's just exhaling, right?
Oh,
It's
it's the
just,
breath.
yeah.
And Jen taught me
Mhm.
many years ago. She's taught me so many things, but that inspire literally means in breath, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And inspire and inspiration is complete
Yep.
connection to source.
Yep.
So it's all found in the breath, which, I've been talking about that a ton in life in general and doing that with myself. Leslie, I want to get to these comments. Leslie said, good grief. Thank you for
Mm.
saying this. So, Leslie, thank you for saying which part. Is that the part about the stuff that we're seeing kind of in the realm of, what's being said about manifestation and how easy it is? Um,
Mhm.
you know, you got to be careful because
Yeah.
I always tell people, the Instagram social media is the highlight reel. And sometimes it's a staged highlight reel. It's not even anywhere close to the truth. So when we're comparing ourselves to these things that we're seeing, we're really doing ourselves a disservice, right? Yeah, so Leslie says the manifesting and the young ones telling us what to do. Absolutely. Leslie is an incredible medium and she's been at this for a long time, so she
Mhm.
knows.
Mhm.
Um, and Jen, I just want to say, like when you said you can't believe some days that you're here with this business. And I do that myself all the time. That's why I call myself the accidental aromatherapist because I
Mhm.
never in my life, I mean, I thought I was allergic to every essential oil ever anywhere. And so the fact that I would have a whole product line, you know,
Mhm.
um, is craziness. And so I have to find that balance because on the one hand, I'm in constant awe and gratitude and humility for it. And then on the other hand, the human of the frustration, the fatigue of doing a business in today's noisy world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I find because I'm so like, what is it, right brained? I'm so right brained. And I'm just so up in the ethers all the time. We're Libras, we know.
Yep.
But when I have to, like, if I can be up there creating, oh my gosh, like I could create 20 blends a week if you know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
have to go from that space down to this human realm and do all the human details of a business. And then it's like thud. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then it
Yes,
brings me there. And then
I
I got to
do.
try to get myself back up. So it's like this dance
It's a
that we're doing.
balance.
What?
It's the Libra, I was gonna say curse, but that's not the right word. It's the Libra blessing of balance challenges. I mean, that's
Mhm.
really like I'm not an astrologer, you know that.
Yeah.
but there are some parts of astrology that I'm just like, oh yeah, that is 100% true. And I feel like with balance is one of my main challenges in life. I'm either all the way gone, I'm all going full speed, or I'm like dead stop in tears. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Or like, yeah, up there creating magic, or just like down here, like what? How do I do my taxes? You know, all of that stuff.
exactly. And that is true with Libras, the balance. But, and this leads to why we're having this show today, because I feel like that's kind of a collective issue
Mhm,
right now, finding the balance with people with
mm,
the seasons. And
mm,
I said yesterday when we were talking that spring, the transition from winter to spring is the most challenging for me, not
mm,
only personally, but I feel in general. And it's
mhm,
because we're coming from this super cold,
mhm.
quiet, dreamy space of winter. We're tired of the dark. Spring comes, we have the time change, right? Which brings even
Yeah,
more light, which
yeah,
I hate it, but that's another story.
yeah.
And we're just so excited that we just want to spring forward real fast.
Mhm.
That's probably not our natural inclination. That's probably not what, we want to do or what wants to be done, right? It's
Yeah.
just it's and we need to give ourselves a little more time. We need to
Yeah.
be aware.
As you're speaking, I keep seeing, like a cocoon, or you know how butterfly wings are wet at first
Yeah.
and they can't fully function, or like when you, I don't know, I keep seeing kind of some unwrapping. Do you know what I mean? Like when you first go out in the sun and you get a sunburn because you hadn't been in the sun for however long, or you
Yeah.
like are taking your nice warm robe off after the shower to get your clothes on, and you're just like kind of the word that keeps coming is gooey, which sounds weird, but like soft, like gooey, like like your exterior isn't quite hard enough to brave the elements yet, and that's like energetically and kind of physically. I did read another thing just yesterday, I think, that it said the beginning of the new year used to be April 1st. And
Well,
that makes
that's
so much sense.
astrological New Year
Yeah, that makes
and
so
all
much
the
sense.
that's
Yes. Yes, so
yeah.
much more sense to me because I hate, well, that transition from, when you get to the new year in January. In January, if in Utah, in the colder places, but especially here, it is the most miserable month. I mean, like I say this with all positivity and love towards where we live, but you hold your breath the whole month and hope that you can get through it because it's freezing, it's gray, it's just depressing. So every new year, I'm thinking I'm supposed to be like having this, growth and like all of these things and resolutions and whatever. I don't really do those, but like this new feeling. And I just feel the new feeling doesn't come, especially here, until about April.
Yeah,
So it made so much sense to me that that is how it is. Like, why?
absolutely. And then, of course, some man decided that we needed to sorry, I'm not, a man like I
Hater.
love men,
You're not.
obviously,
Yeah.
but it's true. Like somebody decided that, oh, it's better to have it start in, January. Probably the Catholic Church, honestly. But, that's kind of how the calendar, but I don't know that. I have no idea. If anybody watching knows how our calendar got to be
I'll
what
look
it
at.
is, I
It's
would
a
love
Georgian. Our calendar's like or isn't it like a Georgian calendar or Gregorian?
Gregorian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gregorian.
and
Sorry.
I think that's the church, but I'm not positive.
I'm
Anyway,
sure it is.
yeah. So the thing that is so interesting when and because I always like to bring things back to what resonates with me and what makes sense. And to me, that's like seasons, that's elements, that's nature that we see and we feel and we're part of every day, right? So to me, we're in the watery depths of during winter and
Mhm. Mhm.
very in, right? And we're moving into spring, which is controlled by the air element
Mm.
and all about our thoughts, right? our
Mhm.
heart and our thoughts.
Mhm.
But one is really soft and floaty, or can be. The
Mhm.
other one is heavy.
Mm.
Like water is dense, right?
Yeah,
And if you think
absolutely.
about the water in the clouds, those make the rain clouds, right?
Mhm.
And so that transition from something heavy and so charged
Mhm.
emotionally to something that we want to be light and airy and fluffy, it's going
Mhm.
to take some doing. And it isn't going to be as let's spring right into it. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Often when we do that, then on the back end, we're trying to recoup. We're backpedaling
Mhm.
to try to gather the breadcrumbs that we missed along the way.
I want to speak to something you just said because it's a theme in my life, and I think everyone else's too. But as a dancer or any kind of, I'll just speak to what I know. As a dancer, the transitions in any movements are the hardest. It's not
Yeah.
the giant leap. It's not the 5 turns in a row. It's the little footwork between the things. Do you know what I mean? And the mark of a really beautiful performer and skilled artist, I think, of any kind, is their ability to navigate a transition. And if
Hmm.
you look at that as a metaphor for life, because we all know, it's the transitions that you have to finesse, you have to ride out, you have to really smooth over and connect to the next thing that make you a fine
Yeah.
being. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that not only make you a fine being, but that bring the peace, contentment, joy that we want,
Mhm.
right? That we're all
Mhm.
looking for. I mean, that's the truth of the matter with every human on this earth. We go about it on different ways. We have different paths, but at the end of the day, we all want to feel good,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Yeah.
I mean, and I love that with the transitions because that is it exactly. And that, like you said, that's so challenging because we are into and we believe that it's these big things. It's the
Mhm.
big choices. It's the big change. It's the big decision.
Mhm.
That's not it. Those always, or more often than not, lead to frustration, disappointment, procrastination because it feels too big. We like intuitively we know it's not that's not the way. So
Mhm.
the little tiny things. So I actually wrote an email about this today that it's the little things that every day,
Mhm.
um, create this life that we want and this life that is going to be what we want, right? It's the
Mhm.
little choices. It's not the one huge thing. It's the
Yeah,
little choices.
I'm thinking as you're speaking, I'm thinking of so many milestones in life that we think are going to make us happy. Um, you know, Having a baby, like, of course, having a baby is a miracle, and it's the biggest blessing in my life. My daughter said to me yesterday, Cecilia said, "Mom, you're so lucky you have 4 children." As I'm like trying to get them dinner and like grabbing and everything. I thought, you know what? I really am. So I don't want to in any way say that that's not a complete blessing. But when you have a baby, there's so much buildup, especially your first baby. There's so much buildup. And then you have that baby, and then you don't sleep, and then you don't have help. And then you know what I mean? And so there's just this huge, like, oh, or when you get married, like when you think like, oh, the wedding day is going to be the best day of my life and all that stuff that we're fed. And then you do it and you're like, what? Did this happen? Or like, I like to think about, I love the story of your wedding day and Jeff and everything. It's like, no, but it's like, it's real. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
it's real. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's those like major milestones, and then the like, oh, but that didn't change my life, or that didn't change thing. And coming back to like the Abraham Hicks stuff or real kind of manifestation, it's like the feeling is what you're looking for, right? And that
Yeah.
feeling is available to you right now. It's
Yeah.
not always easy, but that feeling is available to you right now. And you were talking of peace and happiness, and the feeling that I have 2 good friends. Well, McKella, and
Yeah.
she and her husband have this debate. One of them says they want happiness, and one of them says they want peace. And it's the one that says, I think it's McKella who says she wants peace because if you're peaceful, then you are happy. And he's like, no, happiness comes first and then you're peaceful. Anyway, but the point is, like, we all want that feeling of relief and contentment and peace. And that I'm with her, because I think that's where happiness comes from. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a just, I'm
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of a chicken before the egg type of thing, but because I think, it's all of our perception. His
Mhm.
perception of happiness might actually be more like peace. You know what I mean?
True.
And vice versa. Who knows?
That's
But
true.
it's absolutely true. And not only is it all about the feeling, but the feeling is only in the moment.
Mm,
Like, you
yeah.
know what I mean? And that's where we manifest from, is the feeling. So if
Yeah.
if we're connected to, like, with our business, if we're
Hmm.
or anything in life, if we're connected to the feeling of this is hard,
Yeah.
this is a challenge, this is like excruciating, it's going to be
Hmm.
hard, it's going to be a challenge, it's going to be excruciating. But if
True.
we can, so if I'm going to be doing something that I've had this belief of that's not like of a higher vibe, I
Hmm.
often sit with myself and go, think of something that just brings me absolute joy
Mm.
across time and space, and then I ground into that.
Hmm.
And then when I go back to this thing that I thought was so hard, I'm looking at it with a new perspective, you know?
Yeah.
But we also, and we talked about this yesterday as well, we also don't want to chase away all these feelings that are heavy.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the lines that we've kind of been fed. We don't
Hmm.
want to wallow in it. I'm not saying that. Like, I want to be really clear about this, but we have to give our feelings time and space and acknowledgement. It's those feelings are they are not us, but they are part of our experience. And so when we ignore them or negate them, we don't build our trust for ourselves, right? And so I
Yeah.
told him yesterday that I started doing something because, I've there's been a lot of really challenging emotions that I haven't quite known. Like, it's not that I haven't known what to do with. I've just been kind of like, I'm over it. Like, I'm tired of all this. And so I prayed and meditated about something that I could do that might help me. And so what came to me was, when I'm feeling one of these feelings, whatever it is, grief, anger, sadness, frustration, disappointment, shame, you name it. I felt everything over the last however long, Um, I set my timer for, whatever. And I started with 2 minutes. And I tell myself, okay, you have 2 minutes to fill this fully. Feel it, get it all, just feel it. Let it wash over you, have its time, have its space. I set my timer and I feel it. And then when the timer goes, I'm done. And I'm like, that's my commitment. And the interesting thing is, the more that I've done it, like, I don't even need, I'll get it 30 seconds in and then I'm done. Like, oh, moved. So,
It's so good. I think so many of us are taught, or we brace against the thing. We don't want to get there. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to. We don't want to face it. We're afraid it's going to destroy us in some way, and whatever that is. That's take your pick of difficult emotions for
yeah.
that. But once you do, I mean, the only way out is through. Right? I love that line. I love that quote. I love that idea, because it's in my life. It's been so true. And once you face it, or once you acknowledge it, like you were saying, even if it's only for 10 seconds, then it loses its power, and then you can move on. But if you're constantly running and it's constantly behind you, then you're just, you're in fear and you're in dread. Dread, I hate that emotion.
Oh gosh, me too. That's so heavy and so just like, yeah. And usually it's not it's not founded in anything. You know what I mean? Because once it actually occurs, you're like, oh, I was dreading that. Like,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
I have to say one thing, because what you just said, that we're so worried it will break us, right?
Mhm.
And so I have to just do a little housekeeping business announcement right now, because that's perfect. You just segued right into that. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
But, I've redone my business, my products so that they're in alignment with the season. So each season I have a new grouping, a new curated group of products that's available to love and support us and help us be the tools that we need during the season for that transition, right? For
Mm-hmm.
that very important transition from one season to the next. And this season, I'm really excited because I've got some new products. So one of them, this is not like a brand new product, but it's new on my website. I've not offered this on my site before. And this is Insight. Whoops. Ooh, can't read
Oh my
it.
gosh, Michelle, I have to stop you right there. I pulled this card.
I love it.
I
I'm
grabbed my deck and I was like, I'm just going to pull us a card right as you clicked live. That's what I'm not even joking.
Wow,
Like,
I love that. So hold up that card again, Jen, and
that
let's
is
show
so crazy.
insight.
Can't make this stuff up.
Okay, so that's a sign, people. We all need some insight.
That's
So
amazing.
this blend is specifically created for our pineal gland, for our third eye, for our personal GPS, which I believe is guidance per spirit. And what I love about it is when you use this, it's not like it's gonna like one day you're gonna feel blocked, and then the next day it's just like boom, here I am. My intuition. It's very gentle, it's very soft, it's easy, it feels safe. It helps us to feel safe. So not only does it open this area, it helps us to feel safe in opening up that area, which is so important. This comes in a spray and an oil. And then this is my brand new product, which I am in love with. I can't get enough of it. And it's called Resilient. Oops. Resilient Scrub. Okay. And the reason that I created this is because I felt like we really, really needed something to help us understand how truly flexible we are and how much we can bend and not break. Makes me emotional.
Yeah, me too.
Because we don't really understand that. We don't give ourselves credit for it, even though we have done it. If we look back over our lives if we really look at it, we go, oh my God, like we did that. I did that. I got through that and I'm here. Right. But there's so many things. So resilient is all about our yin, right? It's very yin. It's got there's no scent in this other than the ashwagandha oil. So it's just the complete salt, coconut oil, and ashwagandha oil, which is all about the divine feminine. Okay. And we all need some divine feminine. We need that softness. We need that gentleness. We need that compassion for self and then for others. So this is Resilient Scrub. Brand new. Get it. 9 ounce, 16 ounce on the site. So go to michellesnelling.com. If you have questions and you want to know what I would recommend for you, let me know. So let's see. Oh, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. So excited that you're here live. And Michelle says Insight is my favorite oil. Oh, I love that. Insight and Peace. Me too, Michelle. I have been using Peace. It feels like by the gallon. I can't keep my bottle. I've got a great big bottle of it, like almost a 1 ounce. And I have to refill it so often because I've been using it on me, in my tub, in my shower, in my diffuser, because I believe, this is just my opinion, that we are all in grief in one way or another. We're all experiencing grief on some level, to some degree. And Peace is for that. Peace is what I created specifically for grief. So, and it really does help. And then, oh, I love this, Michelle. Thank you. GPS guidance per spirit. That is genius. Thank you. I appreciate that. And coming from you, Michelle, boy, that is high praise because Michelle is the genius. She is the entrepreneurial, marketing genius. So I appreciate that, Michelle. And so Jen, where do we want to go from here?
I want to say two things about something you just said. You were talking about resilience and the scrub. You were talking about yin and the divine feminine and things like that. And as you were saying that, I had this really overwhelming urge to just stand up and like start moving my hips to just like do a belly dance.
Yes.
And So I love that you were using those words. I know that you put that energy into your products, and I really appreciate that you are a channel and you bring forth the healing that we all need through your products. I mean, you really do. And the fact that you were speaking that and I was feeling it in my body, that's the way I kind of receive things.
Mhm.
Um, that I know it's the truth. I mean, I already knew, but I know it's the truth. And the other thing is that when you're speaking of, you're talking about all of us being in grief. I work with a trauma, sort of it's these two sisters that are amazing. They have this trauma sort of membership about healing trauma, but then they have a sort of spiritual aspect that speaks to what we do in a way. So I do movement work for them to release blockages and stuff. Your products would be amazing, but that's not, I've just thought of that, but that's not what I was going to say. There is a collective trauma in our culture right now, in our world. It's not just our culture, in our world, surrounding the fear that we've been living in for the last couple of years. And it's not a woo-woo thing. It's a real thing. Do you know what I mean? It's a real studied, quantifiable. It's like people in a war zone or something like that. Of course, it's much less than that. But there's a collective trauma. And so you're right, the grief you're speaking of. I know you're speaking of personal grief and grief, in people's lives, but
Oh,
there's
no. No, I'm speaking of the collective,
there's a
all of
collective
it.
grief and trauma that we're all still processing. So any way you can take care of yourself, anything that feeds your spirit or your body or your mind is what to do right now. And then I want to go back to one other thing you said about how um, we don't we think we're going to break, or we don't think we have it in us. And that is because I love this speaker, Susie Moore, and she says, and I know that someone else, I'm sure, has said it for centuries before her, but you are a masterpiece. You are literally a piece of the master. And
Yep.
that's where we forget and feel alone and feel like we won't make it, because we are thinking of ourselves as this human, this body, this whatever. Do you know what I mean? But what we are is, Deepak Chopra calls it the I am. I'm
Yeah.
sure other people too. Like,
Yeah.
we forget that that's who we are. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? And that's when we get in fear, and that's when we get in grief, and that's when we get in I'm not enoughness, and I can't make it through this. Because if you think of yourself as this one little pinpoint on a map, then it is difficult to imagine that you're going to make it through this. But if you think of yourself as a piece of the master, then of
Yeah.
course you're going to make it through anything, because you are the I
Yes,
am.
exactly. A piece of the master and absolutely guided.
Mm-hmm.
You're cradled in the hands of the master. You
Yeah,
know,
it can be no other way.
there is no other way. And we forget that. That
Mm-hmm.
that is what I think the whole lesson of the human experience is, to constantly remember who we are.
You are. Yeah.
Who we are, not who we think we are, not
Mm-hmm.
what we do in life, but who we are, our birthright of being love, alchemy,
Yeah.
magic, personified, all of it, right? But
Yeah.
we get in these day-to-day things. That's why, going back to what I was saying earlier about the Libra, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
up in those ethers, oh, I know. I don't question at all who I am or who's in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I've got to come down into the human, I get
Yeah.
wonky and I forget and I get heavy. And
Mm-hmm.
the grief, that's the thing about this grief. So it's like twofold, because we've got this collective grief that's just like this pall over the whole world, right?
Yes,
That just
absolutely.
keeps getting more and more, placed on it. And then we've got our individual griefs, because
Mm-hmm.
the fact of the matter is there are a lot of people who are choosing, not only people, fur babies, that are
Mm-hmm.
choosing to exit at this time. Like
Mm-hmm.
every single day, I
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple friends that have lost either someone close to them, or
Mm-hmm.
a fur baby,
Mm-hmm.
or I know friends who are having horrible physical things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the
Mm-hmm.
last week, I've had 3 people with heart attacks.
Oh my gosh.
And, it's like there's grief in that too. Let me be clear. Like grief is not just something we've lost. It's
Mhm.
also it's not just for, people, it's situations that change. It's
Mhm.
jobs that we move in and out of. All, it's all this. And so when we've already got this pall of collective grief, and then these little personal things happen, and they may not even be personal to us. Some days
Mhm.
I am so overwhelmed with the amount of people in my periphery that are struggling that I feel like I have to just shut everything off and go, you know what I mean? Because it's so much.
Mhm.
And it's at a rate that it didn't used to be this way, or at least I didn't notice it at this rate. So when
Mhm.
we feel that, we have to respect it. We have to honor it within us. And we have to know, just like you said, Jen, what tools, right?
Mhm.
Beautiful products. Peace is one of them to help with it. That's not the
Mhm.
end all be all. I have access to every one of my products all day long. I still need a lot of other tools, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they help, but I need movement. I need prayer. I need meditation, music. Music is my lifesaver. That has saved me. I was thinking about you the other day, Jen. For some reason, I've been on a Kate Bush kick lately. I haven't listened to Kate Bush for a long time,
Because
but
you're running up that hill, Michelle.
yes, yes.
That's
And
why.
Running Up the Hill and This Woman's Work.
Yeah.
Does anybody know those songs? Anybody watching know those? This Woman's Work, I have put that on and cried real ugly tears for many days because there is so much in those songs. So yeah. But it's like whatever we can do, walking. I've been taking my dogs searching for new places in nature. And it's been we got to find it's the same. The things that have always helped me in the years past aren't. It's got to be it's new stuff because
Mhm.
I'm new. I'm different. We're all different, so
Yeah. And you know what we were talking about yesterday, which I just want to touch on because it's what you just said, finding the tools to make yourself feel better, allowing yourself to use those tools or to do the thing, giving yourself permission instead of denying or talking yourself out of it. Like, I don't need to do that. That will take too much time. That takes too much money, or that, this or that or this or that. Because really the root of everything is your ability to receive. And
yes,
if you can't give yourself what you need, if you're hearing your being is saying to you, go take the afternoon off, go to TJ Maxx. Remember when we had the TJ Maxx conversation? Go browse TJ Maxx for an hour, turn your phone off, be by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Just zone out or whatever, not zone out, tap in, the better one, better way to say it. Then you're not, of course you can't receive from the universe. Of course
yeah,
you can't succeed in your business. Of course you can't, whatever. This is something it's been said forever. It's nothing new, but it's something that I've been taking into my own being lately because I see that I am the last on my list all the time. And
yeah.
how do I expect the universe to treat me when I'm showing the universe that I want to be last on the list?
That I don't matter,
Yeah,
right?
I don't matter. Yeah,
Mirror.
absolutely. Mhm.
Here.
Yeah.
So right there. And so true. And Debbie says she agrees about and I believe it's about this, we are spirits with human bodies. Exactly. And we forget that, and this goes to, we forget that we're that spiritual aspect. We forget that we're that masterpiece. We're
Mhm.
just so in the human and the to-do list. One of the things that I love that I've really taken to heart, and really that this has been my concerted effort, and this is from Michelle Pippin talks about this, and put her up again so that everybody can see her. But she talks about busyness and how
Mhm.
it's like the undermining of everything that we want in life, and that we wear it like a badge.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna get some big brownie button for it.
Mhm.
I'm the busiest.
Yeah.
And it's really um it undoes us. And if we can remember that we are not, our first purpose here is not the human. Our first purpose is the masterpiece,
Mhm.
right? So that's like that's the soul care that I always, I talk
Mhm.
about soul care versus or sacred care versus self-care because
Mhm.
we've got to feed that masterpiece spiritual part of us first, right?
Mhm.
And then what I find is when I'm really feeding that, then feeding the human part just kind of flows.
Yeah.
I'm present. I don't want to be busy. I'm not just
Mhm.
accumulating more things to say I'm busy or I'm eating beautiful food. It's not a struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
just,
I found, my business is all on social media. It's all on Instagram. And I found, and it kind of slowed for a while, but I felt just as busy as I had when I had 20 orders a day. And then just yesterday, I said to myself, what is going on here? Why am I always like stressed and busy and in anxiety? Like, if I don't have an order, why am I looking at my phone and like wondering about it? So I found that like the busyness was in my head.
yes.
You know what I mean? It was my anxiety disguising itself as doing when really all I'm doing is tying myself in knots. Like if I don't have something to do at that moment, if I have something to ship, great, wrap it up, ship it. If I don't, walk away and do something else. Do you know what I mean? Like go take the afternoon off or go do whatever because you can't push like worrying and being in anxiety about something not happening doesn't make it happen, you know?
No, it pushes it farther away.
Yeah.
And again, just like I said earlier with the collective, these beliefs of being in control, that's a collective belief that we've got to be productive all the time. Busy
Mhm.
all the time. Busy equals good.
Ugh,
Busy equals worthy.
yeah.
Busy equals blah, blah, fill in the blank, but it's not true.
Mhm. No,
And
it's not.
so, it's about, so I love that because it is the anxiety of whatever forces us to think that, we've bought into the idea that being busy will keep us, I don't know.
Safe.
Yeah, safe. More on the hamster wheel,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I was just gonna say running around in circles makes you feel safer than just being. I don't know why. It doesn't though. It doesn't. Like it's
Yeah.
just like the illusion of
Yep.
doing something.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for us? We would love to answer them for Jen and I, and it can be anything. It can
Yeah.
be, anything. Ask us anything. We're here for you. Um, and while we're waiting, if anybody does have questions, I just want to say again, I've got my spring collection up, michellesnelly.com. I've also got my spring season of Grown Up Timeout Plus beginning on the 18th of April. And boy, you guys, I say this, but I've got two brand new, nobody's ever seen, only me products coming. And one of them, they're both incredible, but one of them, oh, beyond. So, and you can only get them through the Grown Up Timeout Plus. It's a month of beauty. That's really what it is. And it'll be the perfect transition to really ground you into spring. We've got a beautiful pampering kit. We've got meditations and um, live gatherings for people in Salt Lake. We've got gatherings via Zoom for virtual people, and it's just a month of beauty and fun. So, if you want more information about that, let me know. Again, if you want a product recommendation or if you want me to tell you what I feel would be perfect to help you transition and really harness everything that spring wants for you, I would love to. Message me, Michelle at michellesnelly.com. And again, that's Michelle with one L. And Jen, what do you have going on?
Oh my gosh, what do I have going on? I have been doing a lot of readings just through Reveal, either through email or Instagram, mostly Instagram. I do in-person Salt Lake readings, so those are fun. I've been finding that in my readings, I've been getting sort of a lot of movement kind of prescriptions for people. So, the way I see stuff is I've been doing it this whole thing. Like I see things and I see people moving or I see energy blocked in a certain way. And what I've been coming to and what I've been sort of called to teach is kind of funny, is what I taught with you 10 years ago. Was that like 10 years ago? So
Yeah.
it's been coming back. And like I said, I'm working with that trauma group, and I just taught a workshop for them. I'm doing a virtual retreat with a group of women called Soul Connect. It's on my Instagram. I'm doing that in May, and I'm teaching the same thing. So it's like that stuff that you and I felt called to do 10 years ago is finally coming all the way back around. So that's it's really interesting, and it's also a testament to time is not ours. Time is not ours. And if you have an idea or a desire, it's been put there for a reason. And sometimes you just have to keep going in whatever direction you're going because it might come back around to you. Yeah. And it's like time is not ours. That's what I'm keep hearing right now. And it's just one of those things. And this is for you too, because you know how we've had these ideas and we thought, oh my gosh, once I do this idea, it'll be this thing. But it wasn't this thing when we thought it would be this thing.
Yeah.
So things come in the right time, in the right way. And I've been trying to remind myself of that and trying to surrender and not be pushing in whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, we think we can control it all.
Yeah. I'm in the process of making that course or that class that you know of. It's basically like a moving your energy, but for everyday people. It's not a dance class, not a yoga class. It's, we're going to move our energy. I do speak to the chakras, but mostly just as energy centered because I teach it to people that don't want to hear about the chakras, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm in the process of building it out into an online course so that it will be like a 1 hour masterclass. And then my vision is that I go and teach it in a prison. I go and teach it in a rehab facility. I go and teach it in juvenile detention,
Perfect.
what do they call those with kids, like scared straight or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So that's like, ultimately, I feel like that's where I'm going. But right now I'm still doing readings. I'm still teaching the odd class here. I'm still doing jewelry because why stop,
Oh, and Jen's jewelry, like get a reading with her because you will be flabbergasted. In fact, Jeff had a reading from Jen. Oh my gosh, it's been like 12 years ago. He'd never had a reading with anybody. And I'm like, you want a reading with Jen?
Oh,
So, and he just had the love and the respect and the trust with Jen. So he did it. And she told him something. And this last Saturday, he was on a ghost hunt and they were doing like, I can't remember what it was, but somebody was telling him, like a medium was telling him something about somebody around him. And he remembered something that you told him from his reading. And I'm like, yes. So she's phenomenal. So go to Instagram, reveal.intuitive, get a reading, check out her jewelry. You will not be disappointed. It is just all fabulous, gorgeous, beautiful stuff with history and incredible energy. And,
I'm going to show you my recent thing because I'm wearing it.
I was just thinking that I've
It's
been
a nameplate that says Valerie,
yeah,
but like spelled with an A. Valarie. And the
yeah,
guy I got it from at the hole in the wall shop said, "You're not going to find a Valerie." And he said, "I'm going to melt this." And I said, "Don't you dare. I'm going to find a Valerie." So it was awesome. And then I put it on today and I'm like, I'm going to rock it. I'm going to live in the energy of Valerie
yeah,
anyway. And then of course I keep singing that Mark Ronson, Amy
yeah,
Winehouse.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. And you will find your Valerie. I have no
No,
doubt.
I know. She's here. I know. She's
Yeah.
right here.
She's waiting for it because she doesn't think there's anything with her name spelled
Her
right.
name spelled that way.
Because
Exactly.
you know what? I know that. When I was little, that's when like I was probably, I don't know, 10, 9, 10, 11, when it really got popular to have names on stuff.
Like pencils, mugs, whatever.
Well, like back then it was like keychains and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And every Michelle was two L's.
Oh,
And I never got anything with my name on it. So she's wanting that, I promise.
I
You know
know.
what I mean?
She's out there.
Oh yeah,
You know about Valeri? Sammy was like, it's Valeri. I'm like, that's cool. Like the movie Valerian, or like the root Valerian. Anyway, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
Valerian, whatever. Yeah, but Valerie, Valari, whatever. Come find your
Something.
necklace. So if
Yeah.
anybody watching knows of a Valerie spelled that way,
Yeah.
send them to Jen. And all right, guys, so you know where to find us, michellesnelling.com, Michelle at michellesnelling.com, reveal.intuitive, and at Blue Moon Bits is the jewelry company. So everybody have an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous Friday and weekend. Blessings for ease and peace, happiness, whatever feeling you want to bring more into your life. Love you all. Thank you for being here live and on the replay. See you soon.
Thank you.